I think we're live. Let's see. Show should be warming up in a second. What'd you bring? Can the YouTube see me? Maybe. We'll see. Aha! There we go. Cool beans. Alright, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 25th. Welcome to our live show. Our topics, we got some cool stuff going on here at GI that we'll announce in a little bit. Mark was going to be joining me in a bit. Josh and Bob are actually not in today. They will be definitely in future live shows, but me and Mark will be filling in for this event. So today's topic, we are going to be talking actually a lot about Operation Reclamation 2. Me and Mark were actually at that event last week, which was in Chesterfield, Virginia. It was an event at X Zone, which is a field that our GI Tactical East Coast store location has been working with very closely. Great bunch of guys, a really, really fun event. It was some new experiences that we'll talk about in a little bit. A couple other things we're going to talk about is like what our ideal field is. So me and Mark have jumped around and played a lot of different fields, so we thought it'd be fun to talk about that. The other thing I'm really, really excited to talk about too is TIppmann has now announced their release of an M4. They've been working on an M4 for the past 2 years, and I've had a chance to talk to some of the guys over there at TIppmann, and I'm really excited for what they've been working on. So we'll jump into that in just a second. So Mark, welcome to the show. You have some tea? Tea? Very, very soothing and soothing.
Yes.
So just to catch you up, I let everybody know that we're going to be talking about OpRec and the other stuff, the TIppmann gun and the field discussion. I'm kind of curious to see what you have to say. But let's get a lot of the cool promo stuff out of the way. We just went live with a brand new coupon code, which is kind of crazy. I think it's a little crazy. What do you think, Mark?
I'm trying to think of a meme, but I can't. It's crazy.
You gotta feel a little more enthusiastic. Okay, so the new coupon code is BUST, B-U-S-T, and that will give you 21.5% off your entire purchase. That's right, 21.5% off, which is kind of crazy. Like before we were doing like 14%, but this one's really, really high. You can't get free shipping, doesn't work on map items or like, you know, the special items that are already discounted, but that's a pretty crazy heavy discount. So let's say you wanted a Lancer Tactical for what, $100? No, that's a bad example because that's map, but like maybe like a KGW M9, you can get that for like 20-30 bucks off, which is pretty good. That's one of my favorite pistols. So we have that going on. That's pretty cool. The other thing that we want to talk about is our East Coast location, GI Tactical. They are now shipping out of the retail store. So if you guys are not familiar, we have an East Coast retail location, which is in Chesterfield, Virginia. Look that up. And then so we launched a brand new website specifically for you guys on the East Coast that we can now ship directly out of that retail store location. So that website, if you want to take a look at that, is gitactical.com. We've actually been working really, really hard on that. So we're pretty excited that we can now, so let's say you live in Virginia or you live in one of the surrounding states in Virginia, you can go to gitactical.com, find what you want, order it, and then we'll ship it from that location, and you'll get it in like a day or two, like super, super quick too. It's the website's almost the same as airsoftgi.com. Coupons still apply and all that stuff, so really, really cool. But why don't we take a few questions really quick. Mark, did you see anything that was interesting?
Not yet.
Oh, I like this one. Cody's asking is, what is your favorite AEG? My favorite AEG is probably my custom M4 right now. It's super lightweight. I've talked about it for a while. Mark, what would you say your favorite AEG is?
My Scar.
Your Scar? That's the same one you used during the Kill Confirmed video, right?
Yep.
If you guys haven't checked out this video, we just did a gameplay video based on the Call of Duty game Kill Confirmed. So pretty much we had like patches on our vest, just Velcroed on, and so when you get shot, you sit down for 30 seconds, and either your teammate has to take the patch from you to prevent the other enemy team from getting it, or the enemy team wants to try to get that for points, and whoever has the most points at the end. And Mark, well, what would you say the rate of fire is on that gun?
It was only at like 42.
Oh, only at 42. Like you say that like it's not a big deal. Like that's ridiculous.
Because I know there's other people out there that will top me easily, so that's why I don't want to say it's It's 14. I know you guys can be a lot better.
You're a humble guy. I mean, we can appreciate that for sure. But I think 482 BBs a second is pretty nuts. Go check out that video if you guys have not seen that. Mainly because that's an awesome video, and you get to see Marq just like tear up, which is pretty insane. Let me see if there's any other good questions really quick. If not, we can move on. Oh, okay. So let me ask. Sure, this was on the TIppmann M4. How much is it going to cost? An estimated retail price is going to be around 400. That's not finalized. A lot of the stuff is still in the production stages, but they're actually pretty close along to getting that out, hopefully in the near future and stuff like that too. So it should be around 400. So let's see. We talked about the East Coast store location. Marq, you want to take that one? The G&G guns.
G&G guns, okay. So for limited time only, G&G guns, or Combat Machine as well, right?
I believe it's going to be some Comet machines.
Some
Oh no, it's
versions.
that and then the Raiders, which actually have the
Yes.
electric blowback. Those are actually really nice.
Some, if not most guns are up to 23% off. So that's a lot of savings. 23% is, you could say, at least $20-$30 or so. G&G guns are good. My tan Scar is G&G, so you guys know. I do have a VFC Scar as well.
Too many scars.
Yeah. Well, no one uses them, so I started using. And the G&G's great product. Our G4 line is actually based off them, and I've yet to see one break in level 1.
Yeah.
Especially after a long time, then I'll start seeing it like break. But that's because normal wear and tear.
Yeah, the Raider series are actually the same internals that our G4 series use, so it's something that's been around for a long time. But the reason why I felt like mentioning this G&G discount is because G&G is a company that follows MAP, and very strictly. So there's a lot of times that we can't discount G&G because of the MAP policy or KWA and stuff like that. So the fact that G&G is allowing us to discount these guns for a limited time, it's only going to be until April 14th. So you have a little bit of time, but if you want one of these G&G Raiders, there's a little colored banner on the front of our website. Click there and it'll show you which ones are on discount, and that's actually a really, really good deal. So take advantage of that.
They're like all under $200.
Yeah. Okay. So for example,
performance at that price is really good.
Well, yeah, like when I was in the store, the G&G Raider series, before the Comet Machine series was mainstreamed and everywhere, I used to sell Raiders like crazy because they were such a good quality gun for a low price. Yeah, absolutely. So I like them, and the blowback system is pretty solid as well.
Kind of wish these were out before I started playing Airsoft.
Yeah, when I started playing Airsoft, my first M4 was a Classic Army M4 SPC, which cost me like $350. Like, I don't know if it's $350. It was around there. Like that was a pain in the butt.
$300 It's pretty expensive, but then these come affordable, and they're like cheaper in performance, and performance is good. So
for sure,
I could probably save a lot of money back then.
What was your first AEG that you got? I'm not even sure, Marq.
Mine?
Yeah.
It was a JG M4.
JG M4.
Plastic
or metal?
Plastic.
Nice.
I still have it since 8 years ago, I think.
I'm going to answer one more question really quick. Gavin's asking, would I recommend a VFC Scar? I would, but the only thing I would keep in mind is those magazines are very different and different in size. So in terms of holding the magazines with tactical gear, you have to get like, I don't know what the M14 pouch works on it. We're talking about the Scar Heavy.
Oh, I was like Scarlet.
Yeah, the Scar Heavy.
You can use M14 mag pouch. You can use SR25 mag pouches,
which are available.
7.62 caliber.
Yeah, those are available, but you just have to plan that out and make sure you get that. Okay, so the other thing is we have a few Firepower mystery boxes up. So this mystery box I actually like a lot because we've done many of the Too Cheap to Be True or Too Good to Be True. I like those because those are very affordable, but there's not like big prizes and stuff. This Firepower mystery box, it is more expensive, so it's like $199, but the grand prize is an RWA MG34, and that retails alone for $1,500. $1,555, which is really, really expensive. And then there's a lot of like good guns, like crazy good guns at the top of the list. So you can win a VFC Scar H. Okay, so Gavin, the one that you were talking about, you can actually win that. You can win the SSR, the Mega Arms, MKM, LM4. I used that a little while ago. That was awesome. VFC 417, VFC 416, VFC Scar, KWA LM4, KWA. Yeah, the smaller LM4, the Masada. So those are like some of the top prizes you can win.
You get 3 different LM4s. You get 2 different Scars. 2 different HK 416. I don't know what you call them.
This is like
417 variants.
If there were a squad of guys with like these top guns on the list, they would just wreck face like all the
Well,
faces.
yes and no, but
Well, obviously if they're good players too. But
yeah.
what I'm saying is, you give a really good gun like a BFC Scar to anybody, and they're gonna up their game a little bit.
Yeah, you have the performance hat too.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, let me answer some questions. I saw the question somewhere. Oh, cheap, affordable, not cheapest way, but best way to build a gun up to 25 RPS. I can't remember who said that, but I saw it.
Wait. The question was, how do you build a gun, or the
It was
best
one of
way?
the more efficient ways to build a 25 RPS gun.
Okay.
Or so. You can get a Tanley 40,000 motor and standard ratio gears or 16:1 gears. I'll bring you there. You have to use a LiPo, but I'd be careful if you're not experienced with that.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Pearson
Pearson was asking Mark, what's the easiest way to get a gun to 25 RPS?
You can get Tanley 40,000 and 16:1 gears, like from Lonex.
So now, one thing I do want to preface when we're talking about high-speed setups is, you can buy the parts, but it's really important to have a really good technician work on the gun. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but there's a lot of fine-tuning when it comes to a really high-speed setup, because all the gears and the pistons, everything is going so fast, so everything has to be aligned perfectly. If it's not, something's going to jam, break, get in the way, and shatter. So
this is what I was told, not by working on AGs, but working on cars. It's be the same matter, same subject. It's one thing to know how to install aftermarket parts.
Mm-hmm.
It's another to know how they all work together.
Mm.
So if you don't install aftermarket parts, boom, that's simple. But if you don't know how the functions are, how much resistance, how much pressure and whatnot, it's just gonna break. So you gotta know. Airsoft guns you can trial and error. Other more expensive hobbies, such as cars, you might not want to work with trial and error.
Yeah, because that could be like $1,000 part or something like that.
Yes.
Could like mess things up. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
If you do need your gun teched on, though, don't bring it to me. Bring it to our tech department. I don't want your guns, but
yes,
bring it to our tech department. They'll do it. I know those guys are a lot better than I am, so I'm saying bring it to them. They have more knowledge than I could probably ever fit in my head. So
yeah, just to be clear, guys, Mark is not an official tech of Airsoft GI. He's kind of like an honorary tech that does not work on customer guns ever. He's not allowed to because he hasn't been certified by our tech department. But just to give you an idea of how good of a tech he is, I like to hype him up because he does amazing work. I think almost all my guns, like my Masada that shoots like 35 BBs a second, my M4 that shoots 33 BBs a second, my sniper rifle that shoots 550 feet per second, Mark is the one that built those things. So just to kind of play his ego. He's a very humble guy. So, but so he does awesome tech work. So if you have questions on like Facebook and stuff, shoot it his way, and he can always help you guys out and answer them. Okay, so other cool promotion that we have going on. This one's not really a promotion, but it's something that I like to mention because I feel like it's a great feature that we offer. And it's the Burst Wizard. And we are now offering that in combination with pretty much any AEG that it is compatible with. So first of all, what's a Burst Wizard? Burst Wizard is a little... It's a wizard, and it bursts guns and stuff.
Yes.
In essence. It's a little MOSFET, probably about this big or so, and then it has two wires coming out, one for the battery and one for the gun, and you literally plug this in between the battery and gun, and as soon as you plug it in, it immediately gives you 3-round burst. Now this technology is great because you...
Not just 3-round burst.
Well, I'm going to get to that. So that's the default setting, but it's great that if you want burst, you can buy this little MOSFET, which is called the Burst Wizard, for $40. That's how much we sell it for separately. But the new feature that we have going on that we're going to continue with, if you want to buy any AEG and it is compatible with that Burst Wizard out of the box, we now have an option on our website on the product that you're looking at specifically to click Add Burst Wizard to cart, and it will cut the Burst Wizard price in half to $20. So essentially, I can get, let's say, a new combat machine, and I can get that. Oh, the G&G one was perfect. Get it for 23% off, and oh look, it's compatible with the Burst Wizard. Have it shoot burst out of the box for an extra $20. That is awesome. But it can do other stuff. What else can it do, Mark?
Okay, so one of the features I do like is you can reprogram the MOSFET, the Burst Wizard, to have a delay after a certain amount of rounds. So it's sort of like, say you have a 30-round magazine, and it will make your gun stop. You can't fire, so it'll simulate a reload time. So it's not always constant shooting. It also gives your opponent a chance to get edge. I know you don't want that, but it's also it's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can change the burst mode. You can make it like semi-auto only. It has like lipo protection. It can sense if your gearbox is being jammed, and it's great that it's just like a little chip.
yeah.
No installation required. You just plug it in. And
However, if you do hardwired or like
Mm.
solder it directly to the trigger mechanism,
Mhm.
there are much more features added to that. So, with that being said,
Mhm.
there's just too many features in that thing, but it's so cool to have.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm trying to memorize each individual feature.
Oh,
which
no,
is, but it's really difficult.
We've done a bunch of videos on it, so go look it up. But that's a great thing. But I want to answer Zach's question, which will
Zach
kind of
Cars. I don't know how to pronounce his name, dude.
yeah, we're really bad with names here. This is going to kind of tailor into our discussion for the day. Is Zach is asking us, what is your favorite airsoft field so far?
Daniel.
Now that's a hard question, but I think we're gonna both discuss it for a little while.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough. I went to college in Northern California, so when I was up there, I played airsoft anywhere and everywhere I could. And then, working here at GI, I've had the chance and been very lucky to play at a lot of different fields. My favorite field of all time right now is probably Fort Ord, which is up in Northern California, and it's an old Army barracks, I believe. And the reason why is because it's the most dynamic field I've ever been at. And what I mean by that is I love indoor fields. I love that speed soft mentality, which has been kind of known. But I also love milsim. I love the long range engagements. I love sniping. Sniping is so much fun. That is the one field that I've been to where I have literally done every single one of those roles in one day of play. That's what I like about it. Mark, what would you say your favorite field of all time is?
To start things off, I was more of a speed airsoft player. So
Mhm.
initially, airsoft playground, Tac City was a fun field to go to. Why? It was quick, it's close to home stuff. But I really like Star Arcing SC Village, SC Viper area. It's also close to home, but it is outdoors, so my gun can shoot 390, 400 feet per 2nd.
Mhm.
Or last time I was there, I shot like 398, 397. So and it
Perfect.
didn't decrease or increase. But and I had it at like 42 rounds a second. That but on the recently I went to Virginia and X Zone, right?
Mhm.
That was a fun field.
So yeah, excellent. Let's jump into that as well too. So if you guys are not familiar with Operation Reclamation, the second game just occurred 2 weeks ago. Once again at X Zone in Chesterfield, Virginia. The third one is coming up in the next few months. So the second one actually sold out really quickly. Just so you guys know, if you're watching, this next one is going to have a player cap. We're going to actually have to cap it because last time we had so many walk-ons. We want to make sure the game is well organized and everyone's on the same page. So that means when the tickets go live on the website, you need to buy it quick because no walk-ons will be allowed. But this field, just to give you guys an idea, it was out in the woods. There were trees everywhere, but this was the tricky thing. Those trees were skinny. They were really skinny trees everywhere. So you can see a guy way off in the distance, like, oh, there's a guy. Let me try to hit him. But then he gets caught up by all the brush and all the trees in between. So, like, you had some visibility. So that was a really interesting dynamic. Like, how do you
That was
think you
fun.
fared in that field?
It worked perfect for me. Why I'm a small person.
Mhm.
No Asian jokes, please. Yeah, I really liked it. There was some snow too, so playing in the snow was fun. Like, I'm a big fan of cold weather. I love the cold weather. So being able to run quickly without sweating so much, and it's just it feels really good. And then for those that play Call of Duty, I believe it's dolphin diving.
Mhm.
I did that a lot in Virginia in the snow. That was really fun, just for kicks and giggles, and I don't know, just playing in the snow, playing mud, dirt. It's just like it's really fun. It's just something you don't really get here in SoCal, so I liked it. And there's a train.
There's a train. Yeah, I think the cold was definitely a new experience for me, at least. I have never played airsoft ever in a temperature that cold. I think it was around 30 to 40 degrees out, so it was really cold. And so it wasn't raining. It was actually a really clear, nice, sunny day, but it was still really, really cold out.
Morning.
Oh my gosh! So like I had like a beanie on, and I had my soft shell jacket on, and I had like gloves. I had my my snowboarding gloves and stuff like that, and it was to the point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear this just in the morning to keep warm. But it was so cold, I wore most of my gear and the cold weather stuff all game long just because I was trying to keep warm and stuff like that.
It was cold where I had to wear my Condor soft shell over my BDU. I was
Mhm.
like, I don't want to take a loss, but then I knew I had to follow regulations.
Yeah.
So
And then
yeah, it was really cold. I mean, I can handle cold weather, but then that was really unexpected.
Mhm.
So
So I thought that was a new challenge as well. I mean, there was snow and mud all over the field too. So I
yeah,
felt like that was a challenge where, like, if you're going prone, like, you can do that for a little while. But the thing is, like, your gear and the BDUs would like literally get soaked wet. And so like I was kneeling and crouched behind some cover for a while, and at a certain point, my entire knee was just like drenched, wet, in freezing ice cold water because it was just so muddy and snowy everywhere. So like that was
yeah.
crazy. That was a different dynamic.
It may have seemed really cold for us because we do live in SoCal most of the time.
That's
But if
true.
you give me 2 days to be out there, my body will adjust instantly. So, like 40 degrees,
Hmm.
30, 40, 50 degrees.
See,
I got this.
we're complaining about it. I'm complaining about it because I'm from SoCal, but like I'm sure if you guys are out in Virginia, you're like, oh man, we do this all the time.
Yeah.
It's
Your
raining,
body just
ice.
doesn't adjust to it.
Exactly. So that's definitely
That was
interesting.
pretty fun.
What I
And
found,
40 feels like summer.
yeah. What I found most fascinating was because there was so much mud and snow, you could not run at top speed because you just couldn't do it because it was too dangerous and you would fall, you'd trip or something like that. So I felt like that also changed the pace of the game
Yeah.
because one place where you can run forward and get there quickly would take you twice as long just to navigate through the woods and not break your neck while trying to get there. So I mean, I don't know. I didn't do any like crazy runs or anything. I was sniping most of the time, but I don't know. How do you feel about the movement?
I felt really good. I mean, it's a good thing we brought extra boots. So,
A good idea.
one thing I was smart enough to get, I'm not sure if Dalen got it, but I bought Outdoor Research gaiters.
I was not smart enough, nor did I need them.
Those,
My Danner boots were fine.
he had Daniel, so I was right. I got my Outdoor Research the gaiters, and they wrap around your leg, so it keeps the dirt and snow out. And also kept my legs warm too. So I was like, oh, this is very helpful. So yeah, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be moving a lot. Cause I'd be like, oh, I'm so I don't want to move.
Yeah.
But it was pretty fun. I mean, feet deep in the snow or ankle deep in the snow, just it's just really fun. And also, I think it hurt more people that were visiting because they're not used to cold weather. And then obviously, if your body's cold, and impact BB will hurt more because I think it's because your body is more sensitive to cold temperatures. It's like it just hurts more. So
yeah, I don't know if there's ever been any scientific test on that, but I agree. Like when I got shot, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm hit. Stop shooting. Like it would definitely sting. I think that's an interesting fact what you brought up about the Gators of like playing in a colder or even hotter temperature that really changes the dynamic of the gear that you're going to wear. So like gaiters is something I never wear out here, because I'm not playing in the rain. But in terms of like the field, for example, had hand warmers that they were selling, and I saw guys put it in their gear in their kit and like keep themselves warm, And so it changes how you think about the game. It changes how you play the game, and it changes what you wear. And I think that was really fun too because it was a new experience. It's like, oh, the way I used to play of like speed softing, like, oh, I can't do that here. There's no hard cover. There's skinny trees everywhere.
I really love woodland.
Yeah, I couldn't run and slide to cover and like get a massive flank. There was like no way to like get around like three guys and shoot them all in the back like in an indoor field, not quickly at least. So I think that was pretty crazy. So Mark, I know you got asked this question by the boss too. What do you think you like better? You like woodlands now, or are you still feeling the speed soft?
I do like the wood. Well, actually, the more question I think he asked me was, do you prefer the woodland type or more indoor type?
There you go.
So I do prefer the woodland / outdoor type because playing indoors, I've become used to it. It's still fun, but I just like playing outdoors more. You can it's just fun. None of my guns are indoor anymore, so I just don't play outdoors. And a lot more of our teammates here or coworkers play outdoors, so I'd rather do that.
Yeah.
But playing outdoors always good to hydrate. And I did see your question: how much water do we drink? I'd say 1 to 2 gallons. What do you say?
For like a field game
just randomly in a day.
A day, I probably drink a gallon of water a day. Like so, I keep this gallon. This is 1 full gallon of water. I will drink 2 of those in the office in 3 days time. So I drink about 3/4 a bottle in the office, and then I go home and drink more water.
It's always good to hydrate, guys.
Yeah.
No energy drinks. Water. Has to be water.
At a field when I played at Op Rec or SC Village or whatever, I'll take that bottle and I'd say the 6 to 8 hour period that I'm there, I'll drink the entire bottle just because you gotta stay
those
hydrated.
crates are like 30. Was it number 32 quantities?
Mhm.
I'd literally go to the store, like buy that the night before and take
Mhm.
half of it and put it in my car.
Yeah.
Because I know I'll drink all of it.
Yeah.
So,
So that's just
it's good to
definitely
hydrate no matter what. Just let you guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to the fields though, I think another interesting point is like there's if you have the luxury of being next to fields, try them out. You know, try different angles and different scenarios. And like, you know, we're lucky that we're here in SoCal that we have a lot of fields that we can visit that offer different experiences. But for me, that's really what keeps airsoft interesting. That if I play at the same field over and over again, I'll figure out the angles, I'll figure out where to go, and then it just becomes, oh, let me get there quicker and faster. It's still fun, but it's not. It doesn't give you that like intense adrenaline rush as much. Where you know when I played at GamePod, for example, a few weeks ago, you know I come around this corner and I breach in this room. I have no idea what's going to be in that next room. That feeling right there, it is so scary, but it's so exhilarating at the same time. Like,
oh crap, what did I just walk into?
yeah, exactly. And you walk in there and it's like, oh, there's a friendly in there. It's not a big deal. It's like, oh no, there's actually 3 hostiles looking at me. What do I do next? It's, okay, I got shot back too or something. You know, and I think that experience is really, really what keeps airsoft super fun and interesting.
You know what we should do, Daniel? I mean, it's not part of this, but you like your sniper. Obviously, one, I built it, which is pretty weird. We should do a comparison test. You have yours, I have mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Do you
just
have
built
yours here? Why don't you? Why don't we pull that out? Let's take a look at that for a little while. I don't have my DMR here. It's actually still in Virginia, but it should be coming back pretty soon. And we're getting some hopefully new sniper BBs in a bit, so we want to test them out. But you know, we've here in the office have been talking about sniper rifles for a little bit of uh, what's the best platform for a sniper rifle. So there's been obviously a lot of discussion of like an AEG, not so much gas blowback, and then the Polar Star. Josh has his epic Polar Star sniper and stuff like that. But we've never done like a side-by-side scientific you know, testing which one's better, more accurate, more range, more consistency. My guess would be the Polar Star because I've seen Josh's gun wreck.
It's consistent because it's always consistent on air pressure too. There's no moving components. Well, there's moving. There's less moving components. The fact that there's less variation to as the amount of air seal, amount of compression. So it's always consistent amount of compression coming out.
Yeah. But Mark, what have you done to this thing internally, or what do you have planned for it if you don't have it 100% done yet?
Initially, this was just supposed to be a carbine, but then I added full stock and a long air barrel, so I kind of changed my plans. Initially, if you guys remember the gas blowback versus AG video, it was at like 45 at 390. But recently, it's right now it's shooting 440 at 40, 39, 40. So
are you planning to build this into a DMR or just kind of leave it as more of an outdoor?
If it's found builds DMR, I'm probably gonna make it only semi. But if I wanted to make this in the DMR or to a more outdoor, just cause, I'll probably just leave it as is right now. So
definitely. And this scope is by far one of my favorite scopes. This was the scope that he let me borrow for my sniper rifle at OpRec. And it's what is it? It's a 1 to 4.
1.1 to 4 by 30. 1.5 to 4 by 30. It's an aim sports scope. It's pretty good scope. It's red, green, and blue illumination. I love the blue.
It's like super clear, and I like that. Like when a guy was too close for the 4 times magnification, I would just dial it back, and I can see him. I can see the whole sight picture a lot better. So
this is not an SR25.
So the scope, what is it? It's the Aim Sports 1 to 4 variable zoom scope, right?
It's called CQB scope. Apparently that's what Aim Sports calls it.
Yeah, I think Frederick is asking about it too.
It's not SR25.
Let's see if we have any questions, and then we can continue on.
What is the best inner belt for a battle belt system?
I don't run a battle belt. What would you say?
I don't really run the battle belt, but the belt I use is one of the Condor belts, the one with the Cobra buckle in it. I can't remember what that's called, but
gotcha. Frederick is asking, what's better, the Elite Force M1911 or the KWA M9? Those are both really good guns, and they're different mainly because of the power source. KWA uses green gas, Elite Force uses CO2. So if you have green gas easily available, I'd probably say go with the KWA. But if you're in a spot somewhere where you can't get green gas easily, the CO2 1911 is actually a really good choice too. Oh, I'm sorry, we saw a question. Mark
I saw
saw a
two
question.
questions.
Go ahead, Mark.
All right, I saw two questions. One, why do I not wear BDUs to some of the games? Um, I have my reasons as to why I choose not to wear BDUs. One of the reasons is because they're I find it really comfortable wearing. Well, I wear BDU pants like the tree spec pants. I wear those, but I find it much more comfortable just to wear a sweatshirt. It's more effective, and I don't really need BDUs. If I need to, I will. Like in the Oprec 2, I will. But if not, I won't wear it. One, it's harder to wash,
That's true.
so I tend to my BDUs. I usually tend to take a lot more care of because I don't want it to fade and stuff. Not.
Yeah. I think I'm
Um.
on the same page as you when it comes to the BDUs. I know a lot of people, will go out and play and want to make sure they look tactical and make sure that everything looks really cool, which is completely good and it's a lot of fun, and I do that from time to time as well. But I kind of grew up from that CQB speed soft environment where
Yeah.
I used to play in literally a jeans and a t-shirt, and I didn't care what I look like. Even today, if it goes from like, oh, play in jeans or t-shirts or don't play, I'm gonna play in a jeans or t-shirt because I really just care more about playing, having fun with my friends, and going out and shooting people. The looking cool with the BDUs is kind of like second nature type.
What do you
thing,
call
like
those operators that just wear
second
jeans
nature,
and
but
yeah,
contractors.
contractors and that? I like that look better. So.
I think that looks better too, but I mean, I guess for me, looks doesn't really matter too much to me.
Function over form.
Yes, yeah, I think that's the mindset that me and Mark have, this function over form. And that's not saying, like, I am actually considering working on a loadout that is more about the looks and the realism. So I'm thinking of getting, like, I just got OBX BDUs, so I do have BDUs. I'm thinking of getting, like, the Valhalla Pantac plate carrier and probably, like, an LM4. So it's, like, the complete opposite of what I am as an airsofter. So and that goes back to making things fun and interesting, of like trying different fields. So I'm going to try different loadouts and try different ways of playing the game, and that's what keeps it interesting and fun and new. So it's not always the same stuff all the time. But I'm sorry, you had another question you wanted to answer.
Sam Campbell, G&G Scar versus VFC Scar. Okay, here's the thing. I do own both the G&G Scar and the VFC Scar, and each has their own pros and cons, ups and downs, left and right, positives, negatives. You get the stuff.
They have different lefts and right. I don't know how.
Left and right, positive, negative. Anyway, one thing that I prefer G&G Scar over is the selector switch. I know it's like selector switch. Yeah, I get it. But I just like the way it clicks better on G&G Scar. VFC Scar, for the tan ones, I like the way it looks externally. It looks a little more realistic, similar to the real counterpart. G&G Scar, the way the hop up is secured inside. There are two screws, so it doesn't vibrate as much. G&G Scar, it doesn't have those screws because it needs to go forward, so you can slide in the lower receiver because it takes down just like the real gun counterpart. Internally, the gearboxes are pretty good. Mine was the original 7mm gearbox from G&G, so still running strong. But yeah, each gun's ups and downs. I am not bored, by the way.
Sam,
I was sick a long time. Oh, no, a few days ago, so I'm recuperating.
Guys, do your best, please, not to spam the questions or anything like that. Sam, I know you've asked that question many times before, and we've answered it, so try not to spam the chat too much. Halo's asking, what do we prefer, GoPro or Condor? I think you mean the Contour, I imagine. We actually started using GoPros. I'm a big fan of the GoPros. Those things work really nice. The mounting options are pretty cool too, and I just like how I feel like the shape is the shape is easier to work with. That it's just a little block instead of like a cylinder. So that's something that I like. Oh, here's another one. Daniel White is asking, what are your thoughts on TRU? It's a CQB field in Virginia. Daniel, I've played there before a couple times. Got shot by my boss at that field. So, boss, if you're listening, yeah, I remember that. That's a fun field. It was kind of interesting because that was originally set up to be more of a training facility for law enforcement with a bunch of cool targeting systems, but they also use it for airsoft, which is a lot of fun. I think it's a great field. It's fun to play with. It's very intense, close CQB action. It's not as big as some of like the indoor fields here in SoCal, but it goes back to try different fields. If you're in the area, play at the field at least once. If you don't like it, don't go back, but you're probably going to like it and you're probably going to want to go back. So definitely try it out.
What is my base gun? If you're referring to this,
There
there
is
is
none?
no base. I rarely have base guns besides my 2 scars.
All right,
Which
give
you
us a
guys
part
know.
list really quick because I'm sure people are going to ask about it.
Hmm.
What is the upper receiver?
It is a Voltor MUR1 upper receiver, I believe.
And the lower?
It's a Colt lower.
Okay. Rail system.
SOCOM gear down the finch. What is it, Mark 18?
Mark 18. Mock suppressor. This is the Venom, right?
Venom fluted barrel extension.
Okay. Bipod.
NC Star bipod. Miracle Barrel internal. VFC PEC box. Magpul MP. PTS M-bus sights. AIM optic.
What gearbox shell are you using?
I don't know, but it's an 8
one that
millimeter.
works.
It's running Magic Box 8 millimeter bearings, a bunch of Magic Box components. Tanley GT 35,000 motor. At least now it has one. So the rate of fire probably dropped. And then I'm running a 110 spring. No, maybe 110 spring. Yes.
110 spring?
Yes, a Magic Box 110 spring.
And, okay, so just to be clear, using a 110 spring, which
And
usually gives you an FPS of 350.
No, 380, 390.
Oh, yeah,
My
380,
110,
390. But you're shooting 440, right?
Yeah.
How did you get that to happen?
And Magic Box components, and then a lot of fine tuning.
So the compression is just
My
spot
compression,
on.
I didn't know that was gonna happen. I was actually home just being 400, so I used it, but it just happened.
That's pretty killer.
Does
it have the air nozzle?
No, this is it's a modified air nozzle, servo pad to correct AOE as well as decrease the vibration, because you may not think so, but decrease as much vibration as possible is also good. Pro and hop up, modified Ryusoku bucking, and Miracle Barrel 509.
Does it have the XTS?
The Maple Leaf or the XT RT or RTX nub. So
I want to shoot it. Can I shoot it later?
We'll see. If I don't have my lipos are in Virginia.
Okay.
Because the one that actually works guns properly. Anyway.
Okay.
Magic Box wires and Deans, I guess, pretty much basically it.
That's pretty cool. I want to shoot it.
We might do a video, guys. My gun versus Daniel's DMR. We'll see.
Mine will win for sure.
For distance, yes, yours will win. But
see, for a sniper, you want distance.
Yes,
you also have to have consistency. I'm still playing around with it, but yeah, I don't know. We'll keep. We'll come back to it.
We'll keep toying around with our toys.
Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about before we run out of too much time, this is something I am personally very excited about that I actually only found out about a little while ago. But TIppmann is making an Airsoft M4. So I kind of have a picture I showed you guys. So I mean, this kind of looks like a normal M4, so it doesn't look super special. But I want to kind of give you guys an idea of who TIppmann is, if you guys don't know who they are, and then what they're going to be doing with this gun, because it's something that's really different. So it's not like a straight AEG or gas blowback or a Polar Star. It's kind of like this weird hybrid. Okay, so TIppmann, first of all, if you guys are not familiar, they've been making paintball guns for years and years and years, and they're really good at it. One of my first paintball guns ever was a TIppmann A5, and one of the things that they're very well known for is their simplicity and their reliability. They make a gun called the 98 Custom. If any of you guys play paintball, that should sound very familiar.
Or used to play paintball.
Or used to play paintball, or still play paintball. The 98 Custom is one of the most widely used and popular guns in the paintball market, and is by far probably one of the most used rental guns of all time. Why? Because they're about $130 a pop, and they always work. Not always, but they're super reliable. So that is what TIppmann is to the airsoft world, not airsoft world, to the paintball world, and they do it really, really well. So with that mindset of simplicity and just working well, for the last 2 years, they've been working on an airsoft gun, and then this is their result that's going to be hopefully coming out in the near future. So this gun is not battery powered at all. It is not an AEG, so there's no batteries, there's no gears. It is going to be blowback, so there is going to be felt blowback that, from what I've been told, is similar to like a Wii M4 blowback type recoil, so it should kick pretty hard. And then you have options of how you want to power the gun. You can either use a CO2 gram cartridge, which I do like because it's really easy to get anywhere, or you can use an HPA setup. So if you want to do the Polar Star setup, you can do that either way. The nice thing is once you buy the gun, you can switch it between those two configurations in 30 seconds or less. So that's cool. Mark, I mean, we've talked about this for a little while. What do you think of this thing coming out?
Functionality wise and training wise, I think it's pretty cool design. Why? Moving components always tend to break, no matter if you're the best tech in the world or if you're the one that created the product. All moving components will break in the future. So having just compressed air CO2 run, I think is pretty efficient, especially if you don't know how to take your gun. So that's pretty good. I can't wait for it soon to come out. Maybe get my hands on one. I know you're gonna try one, so if you get your hands on one, I probably won't. But maybe just test it out and see how it goes.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be it's really cool. I mean, in my mind, it's like the simplicity of like a Polar Star because you have an air source of either CO2 or HPA, but you also have the blowback feature, which is really cool. Okay, so let me go over some of the other details. It has anti-jam technology, which that terminology is not really common within the airsoft world. It's more specific towards paintball, but in terms of airsoft, that's going to mean better feeding to make sure it doesn't really jam or anything like that. It does break down like a real M4, so you can punch out the back receiver pin and you can hinge it open. I talked about the multiple gas powers. Here's the other cool thing that I really liked what they did. They took the time and research to figure out what the need for the airsoft world is and make sure it matches that. So, for example, the magazine that it comes with is going to be an 80-round magazine with a CO2 cartridge inside it. You put in the CO2 cartridge and naturally it's going to shoot all the BBs in there. But let's say you want to switch out to a remote line. You can do that and it's going to come out of the bottom of a pistol grip, but you can still then use a normal AEG high cap or mid cap or anything else you want. So that's one of the things that I was talking about that Kyle, one of the senior designers over there, they took the time and effort. What do airsofters have? What do they need? Okay, let's make it compatible with that so it's not something proprietary, which is something that, we've seen a lot of companies that just get an airsoft like, oh, I'm going to do this and make it my own. No, they're like, okay, this exists. Let's not mess it up already. Realistically, you can run an HPA tank and use all your high caps and use all your mid caps and stuff like that too. The other thing is, and Mark, I want your take on this. You can also change the hop-up unit, the barrel, and the bucking to any other one in the industry that you want. I think that's great because you can change it and, let's say, Miracle Barrel or Flat Hop or anything. What do you think about the forethought that they put into making things compatible? Or making it compatible?
My opinion, since we're all basing this off of speculations and stuff, I think it's a good idea, especially if you're a person like me that likes to tune the products, you're a tuner or tech or someone that we're really close. I think that's cool. You can increase range, you can increase velocity, increase accuracy, whatever you need. That's a pretty cool thing. However, when they say able to take aftermarket parts, that means it's going to have a wide variety of selections. If they're going to make it so that it fits specific aftermarket part, that's going to be a little difficult because then you might have to sand down this, sand down that.
So talking about the fine tuning.
All the fine tuning will probably still happen anyway, but that's a pretty cool aspect.
Yeah.
So,
and Mark, I do want to preface this as well as we haven't seen one of these in person. It's just stuff that's on the internet, and they've done a video and stuff like that. But I'm just excited about because I'm a big fan of TIppmann, the company from paintball, and I'm a fan that I'm excited that they're coming out with this kind of stuff. Okay, so a couple other things that I want to go over really quick, and then we can do Q&A for the rest of the show. It will have a 1-year standard warranty. TIppmann is excellent with their warranty. This gun is made in the U.S. This is what I'm excited about as well. Yes, this is the first airsoft gun that I know of, at least, and if I'm wrong, somebody please comment and correct me if I'm wrong, that is made mostly here in the U.S. Only like some small O-rings and screws, I believe, are made somewhere else, but this is like the first U.S. made airsoft gun. No, Polar Stars are made in the U.S. as well, right?
I think so.
But then they're VFC uppers and lowers. Okay, so maybe not the first ever, but this is like an American company that builds here in the U.S., so I have some pride in that. If I didn't already say so, semi-fully auto, adjustable hop-up, adjustable FPS, so you can change it to CQB limits or 400 for outdoor. There is a tournament lock, so you can lock it down so you don't have to worry about refs and all that. And then rate of fire, you can choose the rate of fire to 8 BBs a second to 20 BBs a second, which I think is pretty standard. That's pretty good. A lot of the other parts will be compatible. The front end and the rail is compatible with real AR rail systems and stuff like that. Same thing with the stock. So yeah, I think it's going to be cool. Hopefully it comes out soon. I really just want to play with it and see it.
Questions?
Questions?
All right, start off, guys. I did used to build DSG setups, and I don't use DSG setup just for 30. Is that you know?
No.
Anyway, I use DSG setups not to use on the field, but just to test my limits, see what I can do. I mean, I built a gun shooting 60 plus beats per second with the DSG. I don't use the field. Why? Because sometimes it's a little pointless, and I don't want to hurt people when playing. So I just do it at test limits, and it is at home. My other guns, they're just 30, 40. I mean, a lot more people run that same setup. So that's just a normal gear set. It's not a DSG setup. So it just requires a lot of tuning. So I'm not what you guys call a spray and pray. And I just build guns.
And I will back up Mark 100%. If you guys are familiar with the term overclocking for computers, there's a huge community out there that what they do is they push the limits of a computer as much as possible just for the fun of it. Now, with that same concept, that's what Mark does. I've seen him play on the field. He's very honorable. He does not hose people down. He'll do a burst of, maybe 3 to 5 BBs, and, it's so accurate he doesn't need it. Most of the time I see him on semi. But the reason why he texts on it is for fun. I want to see how fast I can make this thing shoot FPS wise and rate of fire and keep it reliable, And I've seen you in the store too of like, I'm trying to make my gun bright because why? He legitimately wants to see how far he can push it.
I intentionally build my gun and like it lasts a long time. Then I intentionally try to break it just to see and maybe try a new setup or whatnot. Usually, if I wanted to run 30-40, I'd run level 1. But I do have a 7.4 brick, and it just drops it down the rate of fire. I'd still use that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the fun that a lot of the techs, and if you guys tech out there and you've been doing it for a while, you understand what we're talking about. That there is that dynamic of airsoft that is fun just to work on guns. And maybe there'll be a time where I know you don't even play that often, but you're still working on guns because
it's fun. It's like
it's like a mechanic. Like you have a car, you have a super beautiful old car that's classic, and you're gonna
restore it.
Restore it. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. That's the concept. But I had a question for you, Mark. How fast can you make a gun shoot in terms of rate of fire before you're limited and that you have to go to DSG to make it go any faster? Like, what's the fastest standard setup?
This one is pushing.
You said 42, right?
This one was pushing for 42, 45.
So 42, 45, at that point, you think that's the fastest you can go without a DSG setup? Anything after that, you have to go DSG?
As far as I've done, I mean, I would try to go faster, maybe hit 50, but
that's nuts.
I just build things for the fun of it. It's like, that's like building a car. Like I build my car just to make it go faster, even though we're in Cali, you can't really go fast.
Yes.
So it's just fun to do.
Okay, let's try to move on to some other questions because I know we're running out of time. Okay, this is a good question. Daniel, what are the internals on your lightweight gun? I'm going to pass that over to Mark because he's the one that built it.
Okay. I believe there's... I don't even know what motor I put in there.
It's a Tinman.
Okay, so you put the Tinman 40,000 motor. I believe it's 16-to-1 gears. I think it's 16 gears. I think there's 61 gears. And then Magic Box piston, modified piston head, and modify or system other compression parts. So, and I think you're running bearings. No bushings.
It was mostly the combination between From my understanding of what you explained to me, it was the really high torque motor.
Well, it's like a balance bar. The 40,000 is like a balance bar.
Gotcha.
So
So the balance motor, that's powerful and fast. The high-speed gears, so that's where you get most of the speed from. But I believe we also got Magic Box bearings. Now these bearings, from talking to the techs, are probably some of the best bearings for high speed and reliability because by just putting in these bearings, it allows the gears to spin so smoothly that the bearings alone also increase the rate of fire.
it even makes it more smooth. Is I remember now is when we took the time to literally polish almost every single part in that gun.
Yes, so
So
when you look at a gearbox, you know how it's like dirty or whatever. Like every single part inside, like gears are literally shiny. Like they're shiny because they've been polished. Why? Because everything just spins that smoothly
and
too.
now some of you think, yeah, why would you remove the heat treatment? Well, that heat treatment stuff, I personally don't think it's necessary. Why? There's lubricant in there that specific one I use to help it cool down. And the fact that the gun's not rotating or the gearbox isn't rotating fast enough, not gearbox, the gears aren't rotating fast enough and for it to heat up. It's
To a point of concern.
yeah, to a point of concern. Like you'll shoot on burst and then stop shooting and then the gears will cool down. So there's no point. And then polishing the teeth is good too, just for the fun of it.
Gotcha. I want to answer another question. This is from Pearson again. He's asking Daniel or Mark, have you had anything stolen at an airsoft field? Luckily, I haven't had anything stolen, but I did drop a pair of Howard Light headsets, which I actually just got to use. I went to play at SC, and it was a total impulse buy, and I bought these Howard Lights, which were amazing. If you guys aren't familiar, it's a headset or ear protection designed for real shooting, and what it does is it blocks out all the loud sounds of real guns, but it'll also amplify all the other sounds around, so it's like super hearing pretty much. And they're like 80 bucks, and I put it in my dump pouch, but what happened was I had mags on top, so when I was running it jumped out, and so it wasn't like stolen. I just lost it, and somebody probably just picked it up, and I was really sad. But what about you, Mark?
I really don't have any song because my stuff is in the trunk of my car.
Mhm.
What I need comes out, but whatever I don't need stays there, and then I
Yeah.
lock it up. And I don't really have anything stolen. I usually I'm a minimalist.
Mhm.
I don't bring a lot of field. I bring what I need, and if my gun breaks, it breaks. I'm done for the day. But I don't really have anything stolen. My guns aren't really worth stealing. They look crappy.
Mhm.
They look crappy, but then they functional.
Yeah, airsoft stuff is
So-
expensive, so if you're playing at a field, use a locker, lock it in your car or something. Like it's really not worth taking the risk, especially if you have like a gun or something expensive you want to really hold dear.
Yeah, I like to buy, even though like that's the exact same reason why I don't buy wear BDUs because like one they're expensive, and two if I'm just gonna play for a day, it's just like I don't need expensive gear to play quick airsoft. But it's cool to have. Like I mean I have a Banshee,
Yeah,
but that was from a good friend of mine, a good friend of ours, I should say. But yeah, I don't really have expensive gear, something at least it's not worth stealing. So.
yeah. Here's
I
another
am
question.
not Chinese.
I'm Chinese. I'm Chinese and I'm half Mexican. Most of you guys didn't know that.
Mexican.
Or Mexicanese. KJS is asking, Daniel, do you think the quick spring change gearbox should be standard for M4s? Abso-freaking-lutely. No?
Go on.
Oh, this is awkward. Well, I think it's great because if you have the ability to change your spring, mainly change your FPS on the fly, that's great, and that allows you to do what I said before of playing at different fields. I think that is so important that, like, let's say I get a gun for SC, or like shooting above 350, I can play at an outdoor field, but then I can't play indoors. I'm limited. If you have a gun that can change the you can change the spring easily without a tech. That's awesome. Now, from a tech standpoint, you may have a different point of view.
Okay, since I do a lot of fine tuning, the spring tension in there was specifically designed, or not specifically chosen because of the rotation gears. If the spring tension is less, but you're running a higher rate of fire setup, you could potentially strip your piston or strip your gears, whichever goes first. Reason being is the fact that if there's not enough spring tension, the piston's not going to go forward fast enough. So I make it so it's right as the sector gear rotates, it's right always at the right time. So I don't want to change my springs. So I don't want to increase the tension either because too much strain can also break the gears. So it also depends on the gear set you have.
Fair enough. Fair enough, for sure.
That's why if I want to play indoor, I have another gun directly for that. Usually my LM4.
Mhm.
But L4 you can also change the bolts, but yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's good to
Uh,
have 2 or more guns.
Jursoft is asking, Daniel, do you still play at Tech City South? I haven't had a chance to play there in quite some time, just because we've been on the road with a lot of different fields, and we've been doing. If you guys are watching our YouTube channel, all we've been doing like game types at SC Village because we want to give you guys an idea of different fun stuff to play with. Oh, what are you doing?
I thought that was gonna change it.
No, that's wrong button. Let's see if there's any other
If
questions.
you don't have a semi, check your cutoff lever. Maybe that's where it's, or the point on the sector gear that engages cutoff
Read the
lever.
question in the guide, so we know.
Gavin Connor. Mark, would you know what might cause AGs to not do semi? One, cutoff lever to see if that's not broken. Two, the part on the sector gear, that's the, if you're not familiar, it's the gear that engages the piston, that engages with the piston. There's that part in there that engages with the cutoff lever as well, that small like lip. That part could be rounded out, so it doesn't work either. Two, another reason, if it double feeds on semi, it's pretty standard, happened to me a lot. It's running high power LiPo, just rotates twice. You could modify that a bit more or use a lower power battery. So it depends on what your situation is, what parts you use inside your gun as well. What's the best way? Luke McElroy. That's cool. Bless you.
Hey,
What's the best way to get into tech and guns?
I think this is a great question, by the way.
How I started, I literally took my gun and after Frank teched on my gun back in the day, I literally used it for 2 games, took it apart because I was interested as to what it works, and I kind of messed it up, and it took me a while to put it back together. But yeah, the fun part is when I didn't know that it was all pressurized on the inside because spring tension, because I didn't know crap. Back then, everything exploded, so that was fun trying to find every single part, every single shim, because I didn't have parts or tools back then. So yeah, and it was on carpet.
I think when it comes to learning how to tech on a gun, that is probably, in my opinion, one of the most challenging things you can do for airsoft, because it takes so much time. You just really, there's no school for it. There's no class. All of the information is scattered everywhere on the internet. You know, we've shown some stuff, but not a whole lot when it comes to really detailed teching. But there's so many videos out there that people have done, and just graphics, and then there's forums. You have to dedicate your time into having a gun that you honestly are willing just to destroy and just work on. And for me, the point of teching where I felt like I was at least half competent was when I finally understood what each part did in the gun. When I open up the gearbox for the first time, it's a mess. You're like, what is this? Okay, and then you start playing around. Okay, this part is called this, it does this. This part does this, and it, you know, or it's called this and it does this. And once you piece all that together, you know what every single part is and why it's there and what it's supposed to do, that understanding, in my opinion, is the first thing you need to try to do on how you get into teching guns. Once you understand how everything works, then you can fine tune and be like, oh, okay, I know that this works this way. If I buy this part from this company, it's going to increase it by X, Y, and Z or whatever. So, I mean,
you can do all statistics about if you want, but
it's really hard.
depends.
Like you just have to jump into it, dedicate yourself, and really just understand. The other thing I would say is surround yourself by other techs. If you're in a community that there's other techs out there, talk to them. See if one of them's willing to show you. See if one of them can break it down and explain it to you as well too.
Josh Dykstra, Mad Bull Blue, bucking for your VFC Scar
What's the
H.
question? The question was, what's a good hop-up
hop-up?
bucking for the VFC Scar H?
I personally like Mad Bull Blues.
I like Mad Bull
It comes
Blues
in
as
2.
well.
If you rip one, you have another one. So
Yes, and they're cheap too. They're like
$12.
$12 for 2 of them, and they come with the nubs as well, which is pretty nice. Actually, I need to get a couple for. I think I'll put another one in my DMR.
What guns do you have that have full metal reinforced? All our guns have full metal reinforced gearboxes. It's pretty standard.
It's kind of standard. Like I remember, there was a point when it was just like it was gearboxes and it was like reinforced gearboxes, and now companies don't even say reinforced anymore because they're all like reinforced.
Well, all aftermarket components are reinforced.
Yeah.
Modify, Lonex, Bravo. What else is there? King Arms, GP Systema.
Well, let me ask you this. I feel like in the last few years, the amount of gearbox shells cracking have decreased. because of all the reinforced gearboxes.
True.
Generally speaking. I mean, that's how I feel.
My only gearbox I cracked was back then was a that's a weird question, but it was a G&G gearbox. Why? Because I was just putting it to the test. There was no sorbiting back then, so I did. It was with the mag blowback system, and I just cracked it right off, just testing it. So that was interesting. It only cracked because I removed the hop-up unit. Because when I removed the hop-up, that's when I noticed it cracked because the hop-up was pressed back onto it, so it didn't really break
Okay,
it. So.
that makes sense.
What is my favorite color?
This is from Blue 6 Gamer 7.
You go first.
This is a really tough question. My favorite color is probably a combination of two. I like red and black. Red and black is kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, we all know because you work at Airsoft GI, red and black's favorite color. It's amazing color, guys.
No, it was before that. It was way before that. Like my shoes are red and black. I have a red and black suit that looks killer and stuff like that. Like red and black is cool.
He looks good on tuck, by the way. That was Anyway, yeah.
Favorite color, Mark?
I don't really have a favorite color.
If you answer wrong, you're fired.
Exactly. So I don't have a favorite color.
Oh, you answered wrong.
The best idea. The best is to not have a favorite color. Because that way you enjoy more of the other colors out there, more of the perspective. How long have you been in?
This is from Robin Red. He's asking, how long have we been in the industry? I think that's a great question. I've actually been here since the beginning of February for 3 years. So I've been with Airsoft GI for 3 years now. I've been playing Airsoft for the last 10 years. No, a little bit more than that. So a long time. Just kind of weird. So, I don't know. What about you, Mark? You've been here, what, 2 years?
1 year.
1 year?
1 year, and Airsoft for 8 years.
Yes. And Mark is very young, but he's been playing Airsoft for such a long time.
And teching. Fun.
He's a better tech than I am. He's a better player sometimes. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to go head on.
It depends. You and I are two different, two different players, two different perspectives, so we have.
One more question, and then we're going to have to call it. Heath is asking CO2 or green gas. They're very different sources. I would recommend green gas for reliability if it's available. A lot of places you may not be close to an airsoft field or store for green gas, so you might have to go with CO2. So CO2 is not bad, but it also is much higher pressured, so you have to get the right guns. So like the Elite Force 1911s, those are great guns for CO2
Sometimes
as well.
CO2 and green gas is not good for cold weather because that's just nature of gas.
That's
normal
true too.
Chemistry.
Science.
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 No, I've never worked on a gun in gym. Colin C. Thoughts on custom camos? I prefer my guns.
Wait. I want to read this question. Colin was asking if Mark has ever worked on a gun in a dream. Like, I imagine you're like sleeping, but you're like in your mind you're like working on a gun or something like that.
Surprisingly, that's never happened.
That's really funny.
That would be really funny.
I've had airsoft dreams before. I'm just like on the field, like shooting people and stuff.
Never airsoft dreams.
Nothing dramatic. So yeah, but this has been the live show for Tuesday, February 25th. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have questions or comments, hit me up on Facebook. My Facebook's Airsoft GI Dan, I believe. Mark's there as well, so I can try to answer more of your questions. I know
I don't have my own personal Facebook for Airsoft GI, but if you hit the main Airsoft GI Facebook page, I'll get to that.
Yeah, we're all over the place. So yeah, hit me up on Facebook. I'm actually getting more involved with that because I like asking you guys random questions, which is kind of fun. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys next time. All right, this is the awkward moment where we stare at the camera until I figure out how to end it. Wait, I got this. I'm getting better at it.